Pixar's not going anywhere. Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net. Welcome to my channel, and let's have the talk about Pixar, the future of originality, and how this industry really works. Now then, this video was inspired, admittingly, by a few Twitter discussions that I've had on the Bird app. And those discussions involve Pixar and the future of originality. Now, as I am recording this, there were a couple big announcements. First of all, Pixar just dropped their new teaser for their next original film, Elio, which I have not watched the teaser for that, but that's because I don't tend to watch trailers in general. All I can say is by the concept, it sounds really interesting. We also had an equally surprising, maybe a little bit more concerning announcement from DreamWorks, where they are going to be releasing a new movie aimed primarily at adults. And it was written by Charlie Kaufman, an Oscar-winning screenwriter who has written some brilliant films like Being John Malkovich. Now that one is actually premiering on Netflix, which is especially surprising because if it was going to go to a streaming service, you would think that it would go on Peacock if nothing else. But so first of all, the fact that both these announcements dropped today should tell people that they need to calm down. Originality isn't going anywhere. It's not like originality was ever going to go anywhere. Now, I know how it can feel fatiguing sometimes to see all the Marvel movies, all the Star Wars movies. You see that Pixar is making Toy Story 5, and you get a little depressed thinking about it. And you see how IP-driven Hollywood has become, and there can't help but seem to be a sense of worry. Like, well, what's going to happen to originality? Is it truly dead? Is it going anywhere? And then somewhere along this conversation, the idea that Pixar might actually be shuttered, or at the very least move to a sequel-only machine, starts popping up because the last few Pixar films didn't do very well. And so, originality might be dead at Pixar. And we need to tackle this in two areas. And in both areas, we're going to find out that the idea that Pixar will be shuttered or forced to make nothing but sequels, that's 100% wrong. And we need to discuss why. Now, the first thing let's discuss is the last few Pixar films have not done especially well in the theaters. Well, what are the last Pixar films that went to theaters? It was Lightyear, which did pretty poorly, and that's a franchise film, so if anything, that would support that people really were getting IP fatigued with Toy Story, if nothing else. And then there was Onward, which was released just as movie theaters were closing down due to the pandemic. The other Pixar films that came out were Soul, won an Academy Award for Best Picture and Best Animated Feature and Best Score. Totally deserved those wins, by the way. Turning Red, Oscar-nominated film. Luca, pretty sure Oscar-nominated film. But these movies were not released in theaters. They were released straight to Disney Plus, where people viewed them by the millions upon millions. These films were so successful on Disney Plus that that's what prompted Bob Chapek, then Disney CEO, or Kareem Daniel, I don't know who made the ultimate decision, to move Turning Red into a Disney Plus movie to get people to subscribe to Disney Plus. If anything, what this story tells you is that original movies are still doing very well for Disney and Pixar. Yes, they did not go to theaters, but on the strength of Soul, Luca went straight to Disney Plus, even though there were movie theaters that movie could have played in. And then Luca did so well, probably got a bunch of people to sign up for Disney Plus, that they put Turning Red onto Disney Plus. Now, financially, that made no sense in the long run, because why couldn't you have it in theaters and on Disney Plus? Well, that's a question that the bean counters will have to ask. But here's the thing. That story suggests that original creative Pixar films are still making money at Disney. That is why they did what they did, because these movies were driving subscriptions to Disney Plus, and I can guarantee you it still are. You look at Encanto, that got like a very shortened theatrical window, but look at all the people who drew to Disney Plus. So for those of you who are saying that originality is dead at Disney because it's not making money at the box office, it's making money somewhere. And you have to keep in mind that since there has not been an original Pixar film in theaters for a long time, and the last one got its run cut short because of the COVID-19 pandemic, look, I know it's a clickbaity story to say this might be Pixar's last chance to show that they can do original films that people will turn out for. But the thing is, Pixar has been making films that people are turning out for. They still maintain their autonomy in the studio world, the corporate America. Bob Iger, who personally purchased Pixar, that was his first major acquisition, is not going to shutter the brand. He just absolutely will not. And so for those of you thinking that, oh, well, if Elementals doesn't do very well, like they're never going to make an original movie again, they will never do this, calm down. It makes for a sexy, clickbaity headline. This is not how the industry works. Because despite all the original films that lose money, they still make them. And they actually make a lot of them. I mean, when you look at the Academy Awards and Golden Globes, how many sequels do you see? There are not many. There's original movies being made all the time. You just have to go see them. And there's original movies in theaters right now. Go look at something random. Go watch it. But Pixar's not going away. But let's play a thought experiment game, shall we? Let us say that, hey, Pixar is going to be shut down. Let's say Elementals is going to shutter. It's going to just come out to the box office. It's going to totally bomb, and it's going to shutter Pixar. Either the company itself will shut down, or Disney will make it a point to make Pixar a sequel-only machine, to the point where all of the creatives at Pixar leave and they go to other studios. So, let's play that scenario out. Let's say that happens. How is that going to affect animation in the movie world? I'm going to tell you how it's going to affect animation in the movie world. It's not going to affect animation at all. Hayao Miyazaki, Academy Award winning director, made some of the greatest animated films of all time. He was asked about Studio Ghibli's legacy. Should he retire? What if Studio Ghibli could not continue without him and Isao Takahata? And Miyazaki just kind of shrugged off the interviewer and said, it doesn't matter. Studio Ghibli, it's just a name. It's nothing more. That's the thing. So's Pixar. So's Disney. They're just names. The true heartbeat of these companies are the people who make the films. And we are living in a golden age of animation, folks. We really are. Netflix is making wonderful animated films. Films that, by the way, do pop up in theaters if your local Cinemark has a deal with them. That's where you should look first. DreamWorks is still making animated features. Illumination has created a new label so they can make adult animated feature films. There are companies in the UK, France, Japan, Korea There is so much animation out there that honestly, you couldn't watch it all. You could not watch it all. And here's the thing. I know we feel nostalgic about Disney and Pixar. They've been around most of our lives. In some cases, they have been around your entire lives. And we love the memories of them. But here's the thing. They're just names. Like, remember that weird spark that seemed to leave Pixar when John Lasseter got fired? Well, he's at Skydance Animation now. He brought over buddies like Brad Bird. They're making movies over there. You think those aren't going to be good? And here's the thing. Apple has committed that they will put them in theaters. Amazon also wants to make animated features, and they want to put them in theaters. So even if you buy into this theory that Pixar is going to go under, which they absolutely are not. They are not going under. It will never happen. But even if they do, guess what? Talented people will find places to work. Talented people will make their art, and that art will be seen. Just because Disney's name isn't on it doesn't mean that they have a monopoly on this industry. Not anymore. In the 90s, that used to be the case. I mean, try being an animated film in the 90s, nobody cared. Ask how many people actually went to see things like The Swan Princess and The Iron Giant in theaters. Not many, because Disney would release a movie right next to them, and that movie would tank. Now, Disney steers clear of some of the competition because that competition could whoop their butts. And that has only been nothing but good for the industry. And if you are a huge Disney fan, and that's basically all you want to watch, then I think you limit yourself. I think you really need to branch out there, watch some of the other movies. And they have their own unique brands of magic. You do not need to worry about the future of Disney and Pixar, though. First of all, Disney is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. And you have to keep in mind, this is a studio that kept their animation division running to make things like The Great Mouse Detective and Oliver and Company and The Little Mermaid at a time when those movies were doing nothing but losing money. There was like a good decade, maybe a decade and a half, where Disney feature animation made no money. It just lost money. And they kept it going because it is their legacy. They know this. Not to mention there's the other aspect where animated films tend to lead to merchandise sales. And that's why they will continue to make new stuff, because they want new characters, they want new properties, they want to make the merchandise, they want to put them in the parks. Yes, you do get guaranteed sequels. In fact, if anything, here's how it's going to work out. Yes, we probably will see more sequels. You know what? Toy Story 5, Frozen 3, yep, those are sequels. That's Disney looking for money. But you know what those movies are going to do? They are going to be the guaranteed dollars, and that will give Disney the freedom to make other animated movies that are original. That's always how this industry has worked. The hits make up for the misses. Like, why do you think Christopher Nolan has carte blanche to make whatever movie he wants to make, including Oppenheimer, which is a 3-hour R-rated adult drama? It's because he made 3 Batman movies that were insanely popular, and he made Interstellar, and he made Inception, and even Tenet did pretty well, and so did Dunkirk. You think if Oppenheimer fails, Christopher Nolan will never get to make an original movie ever again? That is ludicrous. He has way too much goodwill for that to ever happen. Same thing with Pixar. Let's just say, for example, if Elemental's underperforms, do you think Pixar's never going to be allowed another original movie again? No, because Soul, Luca, and Turning Red did boost the Disney Plus subscribers. They're very heavily watched. In fact, if anything, Lightyear's box office blunder might signal a little bit of a leaning less on the IP of Toy Toy Story. We're not going to get the real-life Woody movie because of Lightyear. I don't know if they were ever making it, but if they thought about it, we're really not getting it now. So folks, calm down. Pixar is going to be fine in the long run. Animation will be fine in the long run. There is so many good animated movies to see, many of which are not from Disney, and guess what? You would love them just as much as some of those Disney films. But don't believe the clickbaity article that Pixar's going under. They're not. That's not how this works. And if Elemental fails, this is not going to be the death knell for original movies. Today's 2 announcements, if nothing else, should prove that. But anyway, that's my thoughts. I'd like to know what you think. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.